sweeps in circles, tends to bowl you over, swinging slyly past your shoulder, black as night and daylight. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Scarlet Looking Glass. Today's song is a very old friend of mine, Raven, which originally debuted in 2010 on Sickety Sit's original EP. But the song is much older than that. I used to perform this at cafes as a solo artist well before I ever met Mike and before the band got started. As this project is a looking glass, I decided to try and look at Raven from a new perspective, and I gave it a brand new, shiny arrangement for this video today, which I had so much fun making. It's really difficult for me to listen to Raven and not immediately go to what the song is literally about, which is when I was physically attacked by a raven in Alaska when I was minding my own damn business. This is way back when I was sort of at the beginning of my journey and had come to realize that I had a calling and then immediately tried to ignore that I had a calling. I was fighting with the universe big time, and it was messy and upsetting, and I was doing the spiritual equivalent of sticking my fingers in my ears and going, rah, 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 your boat, really loudly so that I couldn't hear the universe trying to tell me that I was on the wrong path and I needed to take a hard left turn at Albuquerque about 2 years ago. To quote the song directly, more you ignore, louder I get. You're going to try and ignore me? Bird attack. I grew up in the church, so a calling was something I really only associated with ministers. You were called to go work at a new congregation, things along those lines. I have obviously since realized that people are called to do lots of things. Some people are called to work in healthcare, education, politics, some people science and music. Some people aren't really called to do anything specific, and I'm very envious of those people. The world is your oyster. Like, there's so many possibilities. Elizabeth Gilbert actually wrote in her book, Big Magic, about following your curiosity. She was talking about that common phrase that people use when they're looking for happiness in their career, that you're supposed to follow your passion, which is the same as following your calling. But what if you don't have a passion? What if nothing is just like the thing for you? She says then to follow your curiosity. I actually laughed out loud when I read that because it's just so spot on. Funny enough, that was something I already was doing and still do when I have writer's block. If I'm sitting on the piano and nothing's coming out, I stop and say, fine, I'm not going to fight with you today. What am I curious about? What do I want to learn today? And sometimes that sends me down a pretty impressive internet rabbit hole. But somewhere in there, something else might spark my attention, and that sends me in a different direction. And then something else might spark my attention, and that sends me in a different direction. And before I know it, I'm like making kombucha or like learning how to pick locks. Or I might find myself like neck deep in the polytheistic religious practices of ancient Egyptian societies. I mean, right? That's just fun. And you can find so much inspiration, and it could send you off in a direction you've never seen before. But some days I need to take it one step further back because I don't even know what I'm curious about. And on those days, I'll do a free writing exercise. Free writing is something I learned back in high school where you set a timer and you write without ceasing until the timer sounds. If your mind goes blank, you just continue writing the same word you just finished writing. So that's what I meant to say. Say. Monkeys are so weird. You know, it doesn't really matter. You just have to write without ceasing. You can sit down to free write with purpose, though, intention. And so, for instance, if you're trying to get to your creativity or your curiosity, you could open your free writing with something like, okay, what am I curious about today? And then just take it from there. You can set the timer for like 5 minutes, 3 minutes. If you're an overachiever, you can set it for 10, but 10 is so many minutes. I don't know. Think about that one before you do it. That's a long time. The cool bit about free writing, though, is that if you can really just relax into it. Sometimes you'll be genuinely caught off guard by what comes out of your hand. It might not even match what you thought was going on in your head. And that is fantastic. Anyway, this train of thought was brought to you by Raven. I've included the lyrics and the link to the original recording below. Thank you for listening to me burble. And here is a brand new shiny arrangement of Raven. Raven sweeps in circles, tends to bowl you over, winging slyly past your shoulder. Blackest night and daylight, message shrieks cannot be missed. Girl, Thanks for making all that noise, cats. That was awesome.